that was an example of a Gregorian chant. This was by Kevin MacLeod, Gregorian chant, and Creative Commons music for you, but you can understand that it's one note being sung, and we'll talk about that later. That's one of the healing properties of a Gregorian chant. Sound is a dynamic ordered pattern. Why sound heals? It has to do with biology and consciousness as well. There's the old adage, especially from ancient Greeks, music soothes the savage beast. We know that even in the case of the young David playing psalms and singing, and the words he was professing were also helping heal the demon-possessed King Saul of ancient Israel. Now the words, the sound of Om, having to do with the Sri Yantra mandala, have also been imaged in cymatics, the sound waves, but also, of course, in the mandala of that same exact diagram. When we turn on a radio or our favorite song, something on classical music, we can feel it. When we sit quietly, listen to the rain, or even when we're sitting at a beach listening to the lapping waves on the beach, there's a palpable peace. And recently, sound waves have been found to revive dead coral reefs. So you can imagine how important this is. Sound and classical music has also been found to increase the production of produce in farms. Now, there's no doubt that sound has subtle, profound effects on our body and on nature, and us as humans, on our minds and spirits. But how does it work? And how does it, most importantly, heal us? Well, there are those who say that you can tune your body just like instruments in an orchestra get tuned. If you ever listen to an orchestra preparing to play, there's a cacophony first with the woodwind, strings, horns, the drums, everybody making a ruckus until they tune their instruments to the same note, making sure that they have the same ranges. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box. So the sound washes over us like a wave, bringing us peace and excitement, and surpasses some invigorating practices on earth like exercising or even skydiving or mountain climbing. So the body works in the same way. If a single instrument is playing on its own and not in harmony with the rest of the body, disease is more likely to happen. According to what sound therapist Dr. John Beaulieu, PhD, says, the fundamental principle of energy medicine is that an underlying energy field generates physical, emotional, and mental behaviors or symptoms. If we change the energy field, the physical, emotional, and mental behaviors will also change. And cymatics, sound waves, one of the effective ways to change the energy field is through a science named cymatics. Though he was not the first to discover that sound could heal, obviously, the ancients knew this thousands of years ago, Dr. Hans Jenny of Basel, Switzerland, put together some fascinating experiments where he could actually see how sound works. And he called them cymatics. That's when he put sand and fluid or some other powder on a metal plate attached to an oscillator. And the oscillator essentially is a vibrator, and it vibrates at the certain waves of the sound that the sound makes and creates thousands of types of frequencies. Some of these can be found in nature, others are created by man. So by changing the frequency of the oscillator, Jenny found that the sand, water, or whatever substance he was using to create the visible medium for his sound waves, well, they would morph into some very interesting shapes. And these shapes mimicked the properties of divine geometry. And the higher the frequency, the more complex the shapes would appear. He said, since the various aspects of these phenomena are due to vibrate, we're confronted with a spectrum which reveals a patterned, figurative formation at one pole and kinetic dynamic process in the other, the whole being generated and sustained by its essential periodicity. So what he was observing was really a way of observing matter come to life. Since we now understand through the emerging field of quantum physics that patterns emerge via energy waves, the plates were showing the scientists a similar phenomenon. In the ancient Sumerian society, this was known as being fact. This is why practices like mantra were held in high esteem. For example, repeating the word Om. When you say Om, the vibration goes through your head and then through your whole body and gives you a certain feeling of peace. Now, this caused a certain frequency to imprint upon the matter around it, thus changing the energy field. And we have images of the tonoscope image of the sound Om, and also the diagram of the Om Shri Yantra Mandala. So obviously it's the same thing. So the Tibetans knew of sound science, and there are those that say they even use it to cause levitation. The Tibetans practiced the chanting of 5 seed symbols that would purify the minds. Now, the monks who chant in the Gregorian style also knew and know of this healing power. The Eastern Orthodox Christianity, not the, we're talking about the Gregorian chants where they don't sing in harmony, but they only use one note at a time. That's what we're talking about. They say the kind of singing that we do calms the spirit and helps us live in peace with our world and with one another. This is what Abbot Philip Lawrence, scholar of chant, who also leads the Monastery of Christ in the Desert, home to the American Order of Benedictine monks from Albuquerque, New Mexico, says chanting has some strange effects on the human brain and the brain waves according to various studies. He says, but the effect is certainly not the monks of the desert's objective. Rather, their goal, and that of the Gregorian chant, is to focus on the words rather than the challenge of voice production or sight reading. It's always our hope that our singing will bring others to peace, inner tranquility, and an appreciation of beauty. These values can help create a world in which peace and tranquility prevail. Of course, the Gregorian chant has to do with chanting Christian psalms and Christian hymns. Now, since all matter is, of course, just different frequencies of a collapsed wave or a quantum field, we have then the ability to create a different reality with sound. Now, sound and the golden number, phi. The Greek philosopher Pythagoras understood sound and divine geometry, and it was written about by Euclid in Elements around 300 BC, by Luca Pacioli, a contemporary of Leonardo da Vinci, in De Divina Proportione in 1509, by Johann Kepler around 1600, and many others knew of this cosmic mathematics and the golden mean phi and its power to heal through the ages. So the possibility of great healing can be seen in the science of sound, as we picture from the Sri Yantra Mandala, created by sound, and the deep meditation of Om, representing one of the oldest sounds in the world. The harmonics of sound work to create order out of chaos. So you might say that disease is a form of chaos in the body. According to Dr. Robert Friedman, the connection between the golden ratio and the ideal health was a no-brainer. During his residency in the 1980s, Dr. Friedman began observing the golden ratio throughout the human body on the anatomical, physiological, molecular levels. He said, the deeper I looked, the more deeply I discovered this incredible and ubiquitous code to be embedded throughout the structure and function of the body. It only followed that the more one could harmonize with this grand principle, the more efficient and effortless life could be. And then you had healing frequencies. R. Gordon said, what is illness? Emotional issues that are unresolved block the healing vibrations or cause a disease state to return. Emotional healing, that's why it's a very good thing, and it's therapeutic, of course, to go to confession. It's an emotional healing. Now, over thousands of years, those who have studied the science of sound come to understand that certain frequencies are very healing for the body. And overall, you're trying to create resonance. When two systems are oscillating at different frequencies, there's an impelling force called resonance that causes the two to transfer energy from one to the other. When two similarly tuned systems vibrate at different frequencies, there's another aspect of this energy transfer called entrainment, which causes them to line up and to vibrate at the same frequency, according to Richard Gordon. When we entrain with healing frequencies, our bodies and minds vibrate in harmony. And these are the frequencies. 285 hertz signals cells and tissues to heal, leaves the body feeling rejuvenated. 396 hertz liberates guilt, fear to make way for high vibration emotions. 417 hertz allows the undoing of challenging situations. 258 hertz said to repair cells, awaken consciousness. 639 hertz vibration associated with the heart. It allows feeling of love and for self and other until there's no longer a distinction, a balanced relationship. 741 hertz said to clean the cells. 852 hertz awakens intuition. 963 hertz activates pineal gland. Now, a Russian engineer understood the power of sound as well. He was George Lakovsky. He understood that certain frequencies would make a living being grow stronger. So as we said before, the Russians have used a sound also to change DNA. And of course, they use sound in production of farm products as well. So Joachim Ernst Berendt said, at the root of all power and motion, there is music and rhythm, the play of pattern frequencies against a mixture of time. We know that every particle in the physical universe takes its characteristics from the pitch and pattern and overtones of its particular frequencies, its singing. Before we make music, music makes us, he said. And this is on The Mind Unleashed by Christina Sarek. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support.